We're out here in our final morning out at Huron Pond, another beautiful spot in the Shawnee National Forest, appropriately named for the great heron that come through here. Grays, blues, occasionally a white egret, but we probably won't see any of them today. They've migrated early. One of the things you'll see us using today is a lot of more long lenses. Birds don't like people, so they're going to keep a safe distance from us, so we want to try to get them from a good distance away, and of course that takes longer lenses. Otherwise, in the swampland itself, the cypress trees, something you don't normally see this far north. You usually see them in the Florida Everglades, but they have cypress trees, a lot of green mossy water with a lot of wildlife, songbirds. So we're excited about this spot. There's a floating pontoon bridge that we're going to walk out on. It's about 300 yards worth of floating bridge, and it's a series of 90-degree angles that will afford us a lot of good opportunities to both stay out of each other's way and have a good clean shot at any kind of wildlife or nature scene we want to use. Because of the thick canopy coverage of these trees, depth of field is going to be a little bit more interesting. We may have to pull out our tripods, which we're on a floating bridge, so that could pose some interesting opportunities as well. But we're here to learn and have fun. Final morning. Because we're going to be shooting in a fairly mixed lighting environment, we're not sure what kind of wildlife we might come up on. The last thing we want to do is miss a great shot because we're in the wrong metering mode. What I recommend is the spot metering mode for your specific camera. So when you come upon any kind of wildlife or bird, you want the camera just to meter that small bird, because we're not going to be right on top of it. It's going to be a smaller part of our screen. So in spot metering, we're guaranteed to get the lighting of just that wildlife and not so much worry about the surrounding life around that. Later on, if we're stationary and wildlife comes to us, we can switch to more of a center or partial metering mode, which will allow us to blend in some of the background and still get a good picture of that bird. Make sense? All right, let's head out. Well, here we are wrapping up the Shawnee National Forest workshop. It's been a great time. It was fun. It was learning. We got to see that Mother Nature doesn't always follow our itinerary, but the nicest thing was we had a good itinerary that took under consideration both the capabilities of the individuals physically, their capability as photographers, whether they were novices, whether they were experienced, and we accomplished a lot. We brought them to sites they may have never gone before. They had the opportunity to challenge themselves as both artists and photographers. Some of the things that we were able to do were to walk into the forest deep in, climb up and down some moderate rock formations, photograph what looked like carpeting, which was green moss, and staircases of rocks. We hiked to the top of waterfalls. Unfortunately, this time Mother Nature didn't cooperate with the rain ahead of time. It fell down while we were here, but again, we were ready for that. The accommodations were incredible. I can't thank the Willowbrook cabin owners here in Eddyville for what they provided us with, and I can't wait to come back and try this again. We're going to be doing this hopefully at least twice a year, maybe even 3 times a year. This is a workshop that gives each individual as a photographer the opportunity to enjoy the scenery, to get out, get away, relax, and enjoy it in accommodations that are top-notch. What's your name?
My name's Wayne. We came down on this workshop. I wanted to see the Shawnee National Forest, a lot of rock formations, waterfalls, wildlife, things like that we don't get to see up in northern Illinois, and work on photography. Keith is a great instructor. Takes his time with people, and he knows the area.
Name?
Hi, I'm Connie. I am definitely an amateur photographer. Well, I just wanted to learn more about my camera and how to use it. And I've learned the different modes, how to use them, the lighting. Also about framing. I think that's going to be real important when I go to use my camera and get my shots. That will be helpful to me a great deal. And the modes, it's interesting, all the different modes that I have on my camera that I didn't know was there, and how I can use those to make a better picture. All the guys were great. I learned something. That was the awesome thing. They made me feel like I fit right in, and I learned something from each and every one of them. They all took me aside at different times and showed me what they were doing and what I could do, giving me pointers. And I thought that was great that they shared the information that they knew, and even places I could go after they're gone where I can get more information and more help. And they never made me feel like an amateur, so that was great.
Eric Lauderdale, definitely amateur / hobbyist. Just do this for the fun of it. It's a hobby that I can take with me on the road. I was contacted via Mr. French on his email list. The scenic spots that he picked out, they were breathtaking, and even though the waterfalls weren't flowing, and that's well beyond his control, we definitely made the best of the opportunity. It's a fantastic environment, great hospitality by all the people involved, and it's a great time.
You know, the nice thing about being in the Shawnee National Forest is there's so many things to do. Even if we're here for a week, we're not going to be able to do all of them. But what that provides us with is a lot of flexibility in our itinerary. So what we did is we took every evening, looked close at what the weather was going to provide us with, and adjusted our schedule based on what it appeared to be either from a safe environment or from a comfortable environment. We were able to accomplish something strong and meaningful for what was going to occur in each lesson. Each of the attendees tried something different for the first time, and that's always exciting for me because I love to teach people new things. We trained some individuals for the first time how to take photographs total darkness, and when we first talked about that, they were wondering how on earth we do that, because light or photography requires light. Well, of course it does. And after we were done with the lesson, they had an aha moment, but until then it was something new they looked forward to. So I was excited to see. The other thing, you know, it's really easy to get disappointed when you hike for a half an hour, you climb a few rocks and go down a few hills and up a few hills, and you get to the top of the waterfall and there's no water. But you know what? The scenery is so dynamic that it didn't matter. Nature provided the art for us, and we went in, interpreted it, photographed it, and came up with something very exciting. Everybody, as far as I could tell, left with a lot of excitement.